Hello and good afternoon. Welcome to today's another episode of Global Event. And I'm your host, Dr. Anirban Mukherjee, Chief Project Executive, NDLI. So today we'll discuss about the topic of discussion will be bringing safe water to your doorstep. And before going anywhere, I'd like to have a brief. I'd like to share a brief of NDLI with you, and thereafter we will continue with our entire program. So, as you know, NDLI is the India's largest digital repository, which was started as the pilot project in 2015, and subsequently on 19th June of 2018 it was launched nationally, and right now it is on its third phase. So NDLI 3.0 version has launched very recently. It is very user friendly than its previous version, and also it is quite smart than the previous one. Right now, NDLI is hosting more than 11 crores of content, and out of which 8.9 crores of contents are completely open and free to use for everyone. NDLI, you can find the content in 423 languages, out of which 39 in Indian languages. Apart from that, in this NDLI 3.0, you can have the search facility in 12 languages other than English. As well as you know that NDLI conduct lot of user awareness session discussions, online sessions like this one. NDLI also provides service like institutional digital repositories to the institution, those who don't have such infrastructure with them. And apart from that, NDLI also present in the educational institute in the form of NDLI Club, which is additional service provided by NDLI. And right now we have a network of more than 6,000 NDLI clubs across the country. And we have already helped to establish more than 150 ideas across the country. So NDLA Club is a platform, is a digital platform that which helps the institution to handhold with the recommendation of NEP 2020, where it has been said that every higher educational institution should have activity-based club to avoid the hustles of establishing a physical club, the logistics, the manpower, and the place. To avoid all these things, NDLI has presented this innovative service. This is a digital club, NDLI Club network. So educational institution can join there, and it will help their students to enhance their core competence and sharpen their skill and personality, and as well as the exchange of ideas between the institutions. So right now we have more than 6,000 clubs across the country. NDLI oftenly organizes lots of workshop, user awareness sessions, and train the professionals as well. As you can see here that we have already organized more than 760 online user awareness session workshop, like 68 international and national workshops, as well as 32 idea workshop have been arranged, which where more than 2,000 library professional has participated and trained there. So with that, NDLI also received numbers of national and international recognitions, and the motto that NDLI always bring, that is learn, share, and grow with NDLI, and that's it. Right now, I will continue with our guest today. We are lucky to have our partner Wheels Global Foundation, and Ms. Suyata Roy is representing that Wheels Global Foundation. So we are having Ms. Roy here. So let me introduce her. Miss Roy, she is MSc in Physics from IIT Kharagpur and postgraduated in Computer Science from ISI Kolkata, and then CQA from Quality Assurance Institution, USA. She is a Distinguished Service Awardee of IIT Kharagpur. Ms. Roy spent most of her career in the corporate IT sector, working with various private and multinational organizations. And finally, she retired from the IBM as general manager. And after the retirement, she is being actively involved in varieties IIT alumni activities as well as voluntary activities to give back to the society. Currently, she is the president of Wheels Global Foundation India and member of their board. She's also served as the chief operating officer of NDLI over the last 8 years. So let me welcome Ms. Roy, uh, Mrs. Sweta Roy here. So right now I am handing over the session to you, Sweta ma'am. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Mukherjee, for that nice introduction. It's my rare privilege to be introducing our speaker of the day, Dr. Sunderrajan Krishnan, who is a pioneer in the field of water and an expert, if I may say. Talking about his background, Dr. Krishnan holds a BTech degree in civil engineering from IIT Bombay and got his PhD in geological and environmental sciences from Stanford University. He is an Ashoka Fellow and Executive Director of INREM Foundation. Dr. Krishnan has been working on finding solutions to rural drinking water problems in India and has specially contributed to documenting and bringing to light the health impacts of water and finding solutions to address those in participation with remote rural communities. His institution in REM, they created a program called Water Quality Champions that recognized the potential for change makers on clean water. And then they developed the Water Quality Network, which connected all these champions together with the practitioners' communities. Supported by INREM's community partnership in 7 states of India, these help build models for large-scale government interventions. The most welcome to the session, Dr. Krishnan, and we do look forward to hearing from you over the almost one hour after this.
Thank you so much, Sujata ji, and it's a pleasure to be part of this program organized by NDLI and Wheels Global. And I look forward to interacting with you today.
Sure, thank you. Before we start off, I do also feel extremely privileged to introduce our Mr. Ratan Agarwal, the president of Wheels Global Foundation. He is, as I said, he is the president of Wheels Global and serves on the Wheels board, bringing nearly 3 decades of rich experience in building and scaling multiple new startups and executive roles at several Fortune 500 companies. Ratan is also a co-founder and managing partner of Carbon Group Global, a global sustainability solutions holding company creating rapid applications of proven solutions with market-based models in education and learning, women's empowerment, resources, health, and economic development. Ratan did his master's in structural engineering from IIT Bombay, then did his MBA from the Wharton School, and is currently based in New Jersey, USA. He is an extremely energetic and a powerful leader who is very ably driving all the initiatives of Wheels Global. And if I may share my personal experience, it has been a big learning experience for me to work with him. So, welcome to the session, and I'm so happy that you could make it, even though the timing was not very favorable to your time zone. But thank you for joining the event. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sujata. And it's a privilege and pleasure to join, and looking forward to the interaction with our youth community, the future of the impact world. So, such a pleasure, and happy to participate and support.
Thank you. Okay, now moving over to the main session. The topic for the day is bringing safe water to our doorstep. Okay, as I think all of us know, India is facing a severe safe water crisis, whereby millions of people face lack access to safe and clean drinking water. This is especially apparent in the rural areas. Rapid urbanization and industrialization have led to increased water pollution. Add to that inefficient in agricultural practices that have resulted in making many water bodies unfit for consumption. Looking at some statistics, 21% of communicable diseases in India are linked to unsafe water. 500 children under the age of 5 die from diarrhea every day in India. And there are so many other impacts of drinking unsafe water. But of course, I'm not a specialist here. So let's go over to our subject matter expert, Mr. Krishnan, Dr. Krishnan today, and let's hear from him about this issue. So Dr. Krishnan, what do you think is the problem of water that you see from your perspective?
Sujata ji, with your permission, can I just also share the screen slides?
Yes, of course.
As you rightly said, Sujata ji, the challenge to get safe water to every doorstep is still there today. There has been a lot of progress from when I started working around 10 to 15 years back. And there are specific problems that we work on in INRIM Foundation. INRIM Foundation is an organization called India Natural Resource Economics and Management Foundation. I'm speaking right now from Anand in Gujarat, the milk town. That's where I'm located. And before I begin, let me just bring you and zoom you into the specific problem of one child that we came across around 10 to 12 years back. So our initial focus was to more of curiosity and more of research as to finding out why the problem, as Sujata ji you mentioned, why is it really taking place, and also that what are these problems which are really affecting the next generation of children and why their health is getting affected. While we traveled across the country and went around, we found a range of different issues and we met a range of different people across the country. Especially the dot, the location that you see over here, somewhere in western part of Madhya Pradesh on this map. It is called a place called Jhabua in western Madhya Pradesh, where we came across a young boy around 7 to 10 years old whom we actually found in this sort of a condition. He was sitting silently alone outside his school on a small piece of rock, unable to really participate in anything around the school. And disability and crippledness had really affected him. And we were wondering what has really happened, what is the problem, what could be the reason why this boy was affected. And we were shocked to actually find that the cause of this crippledness, the cause of this deformity in the body is actually coming from water contamination. And this was, even for us who were people who were knowledgeable about these issues, we came with all these instruments and testing kits. This was a real big shock when we actually saw children like this at this tender age being affected with such a big disease and deformity at an age of even less than. So that really woke me up in terms of seeing what kind of problems and what I need to be focusing on, what INREM needs to be focusing on. And we started investigation on what is really happening, what is really leading to this sort of severe problems at such a young age. So the nature of the problem that we found is actually a bit more complex. There is contamination of water, as Sujata ji explained. Contamination of water is coming from so many different sources. It is also coming from the rocks, the soil that we actually use for actually accessing water, groundwater or aquifers from where all our hand pumps and bore wells access water have a variety of different minerals or constituents which are now contaminants because they are beyond certain safety limits, and that is what we called as water contamination. In this particular place, we had a particular contaminant called high fluoride in water. But as you can imagine, the same set of people, the same village, when they use this particular water for drinking, they actually end up using the same water also for irrigation or for food production. So eventually, the food also gets contaminated with the same water contaminant, there is fluoride in this case. And broadly, it reflects into disorders which are all internal: bone deformities, thyroidal deformities, anemic deformities, which actually end up passing from generation to generation. This is a lady who is just around 25 to 27 years old, and this son is around 10 or 12 years old, and they both are affected with this disease of physical disorders called skeletal fluorosis, which we found was affecting a lot of people. So the larger problem that we started looking at around 10 to 12 years back was this contamination from fluoride, from arsenic, from various other contaminants, which actually affect people so severely. And some places it actually affects a lot of people. And we found that it is affecting the young much more than the elderly in this place. And we were wondering what could be the reason for this, and how can one really come about to solve this problem. Yes, Sujata.
Okay, so now that you could identify what the problem was, how can we solve this problem for the people who are actually getting affected by this?
Sure. In fact, there is a, I mean, in very simple words, right? I mean, we were just going to the villages and just saying, oh, this is acha pani. Why don't we really have it? I mean, that was our first reaction. Right? We went around the village with testing kits, with all these instruments, and we went around and we saw that certain water sources were so clean. And we said, oh, this is acha pani. Why don't you start drinking it? And we felt that, look, our job is done. We have told people that this water is good, and they are actually going to make it as part of their daily practice. Unfortunately, this did not happen. No, it could not happen in spite of all our goodwill. I mean, as people coming from cities and going to villages and informing people about the fact that, look, certain water sources of yours are contaminated and certain water sources of yours are safe. Um, and there are also ways to improvise or treat or make small water filters, which really can make a difference in your daily life. But actually making acha pani or safe water a part of daily practice, we found is not very easy. It is actually difficult. There are simple solutions, small things to do, but it actually needs to go through people who are actually there, in the village itself. And we felt that we need to make a beginning, somewhere. And back in around 2010, 2012, 13, we made this small beginning with a child, again, this boy whom I spoke about, who started, whose family, whose teachers, people around him started understanding that, okay, this is the risk when we actually go in this direction. These are the changes that you make to water and diet. There are simple solutions of water in front of us. And there is a beginning that can be made in the child's life as to coming out of this severe problem. The question is, how can a change actually be made? And this is the challenge, this is the question that always came back to us as people who are coming from a scientific perspective or a social work perspective, and we knowing that there is a certain water problem which is affecting children, and there are solutions to it. There are water filters, there are ways to test water, there are ways to inform people, but how do you really convince people that really possible? And over there we discovered that the problem is not technical, the problem is not about science, not necessarily about innovation. The problem is about us as people, in the sense people getting empowered and champions getting from the community directly. So here we have three sets of people who actually helped this boy come out of this problem. One a health worker, one an Anganwadi worker, and one a teacher. And all three of them played a significant role in convincing the family, the parent, the teacher around that, look, you got to test your water, you got to make that water safe from simple filters or access it from sources that are safe, but you also need to be conscious and cognizant of health problems and diseases from an early stage. So you need a combination of these champions from ground who are actually able to convince families, children, students, teachers, that change is possible on simple water problems. And a supporting system also needed locally, where you can have transformation really possible. By a supporting system, what we really mean that a family alone in this sort of condition, a remote tribal area, even if they know that there is a certain problem and there is a simple solution to it, let us say a water source which is safe, it becomes very difficult to actually constantly understand it and change yourself. You need a whole ecosystem in the village, whole set of people who are really able to seed that change and champion the change within the system. So I'll just pause here before we go into how this thing then spread across in multiple places.
Okay, so you started with individuals. You started finding solutions for the people who were actually impacted, and then if we look at the bigger picture, the larger problem, how do you plan to solve that? Maybe across India or even globally.
Yes, Sujata. So the wider problem that we keep, addressing, we keep, thinking about and challenging is that the problems are not in one place. Right? The problem of arsenic contamination is there in Assam. Even today, it's there in parts of West Bengal, in parts of Bihar. The problem of fluoride and newer contamination, such as uranium in water, is also spreading. And our first response was to actually set up what we call as community labs in different places, starting from this place called Jabua in Madhya Pradesh. We set up spearhead teams across the country to help communities to actually try and understand about the problem, look at simple solutions such as water filters or local solutions such as safer water sources, identify them, and have a program which is called a behavioral change program, a community based program that they can sustain to improve not just that water but also their health. And we call this vision for people as water safe communities in the sense that it's about water as a whole to become safe so that these problems are solved in the long run. So we saw the transformation growing, but as you rightly said, it wasn't enough. Right? As you mentioned at the beginning, the problem is much larger than all of this. I put some numbers here, but I'm not sure about it. These are public numbers for the government, but the problem is quite large, at least more than 100 million people, several billion dollars of cost to the country every day. And newer emerging issues, as I said, problems of uranium in water, but climate change issues and newer water pollution issues, which make the scale of the problem much worse. So we started thinking as an organization, as a mission, we have the know-how, we know what is to be done. What is it that needs to be done to really ensure safe water for all? So today, if you look at the mission of the government of India in terms of a Jal Jeevan mission, in terms of safe water for everybody, there is a mission which says that there is a problem which is there in 6 lakh villages, and we really need to ensure safe water for everybody across India. But how do you really make it happen? How do you really have small ideas that I spoke about in small places like Jaguar that I shared? And these ideas, how can they really save lives as that of small children that I showed over here? And the big question that we keep coming to us is that we put this picture in front of us. They say that in a remote village, in a remote place, at the back of the hill, these children exist who have no clue about what water they are drinking and accessing. They really trust it. How do you solve this problem of quality of water for these children at the scale, where the country is? And over there, we really came up to a few different goals that as an organization we need to do. We need to open up knowledge as what India is doing. I'm really happy, that this mission of open knowledge and open information, we really need to open up data in terms of trustable data of about water. And third thing is we really need to open up solutions because there are so many solutions that are possible, and unless they are in the open domain, unless people are really able to work around with it, it won't really happen for people. So we are on a mission of making everybody in India or every person in India as a champion of water. We call it the Water Quality Champion Program. It's a motivational program where even students are part of it. The students program that we run is called the Jaldut program, especially in a state like Assam. It has already scaled up across the state to around 50,000, 60,000 students across the state, where they are water quality champions. And there are water quality champions across now in 30 states of India. where starting from this village in Jabua in Western Madhya Pradesh, now we are onto a mission of how we can leverage new technologies, new networks, and new set of organizations to reach out to every place in India to try and see everybody as in water quality champion with open data, open solutioning, and open knowledge. And the Jaldoot's program in Assam with students is a great example of how such a thing can happen. And we encourage everyone watching this particular program, this particular video, to also come in and become a water quality champion, become a Jaldoot, and really be part of the change. Yes, Sugata.
Okay. Um, Before asking the next question to you, Dr. Krishnan, here is a message for all the audience in here. After this, we will have a Q&A session. So any questions that you may have, please put them in the chat box, and Dr. Krishnan will be answering those at the end of this session and respond to you. Okay. So with that, back to Dr. Krishnan. So see, what the audience that we have here today is a group of very young, energetic group who are really now all ready to take their leap out of the college and getting into the outside world for a career. So what kind of educational scope do they have? And then what kind of employment or entrepreneurial opportunities would they have in this space? If you can tell them, that will be a big help to this audience.
Sure, sure, sure. I think this list is not exhaustive, but this could be a beginning for the audience here to explore and really look for in terms of their own diversity, in terms of their own starting points as to what could be a journey in terms of working on water. There is a program on water. It's called the Water Policy and Governance Program at the Tata Institute of Social Sciences in Mumbai. It's for people who want to pursue a career which is more oriented towards water and social work, or you could see even in rural or urban India, but more in the direction of social work and programs around change in water. The Institute of Terry in Delhi also runs a program, and other programs such as CEPT University in Gujarat and various other environmental science oriented programs also have an element of focus on water. There are wider programs run by the Azim Premji University and Institute of Rural Management in Anand, Gujarat, where I am familiar with, 30-year-old institution, where you can get a broader education to enter into this area. Apart from the technical education that is received in engineering institutes, at the IITs, and many other institutions that you're already aware of. In terms of incubation, innovation, and new ideas to come in and new technologies, highly recommend incubation program which is run by IIT Madras International Center for Clean Water. They run an incubator program, short-term to long-term programs where guidance is given in terms of basic education on innovation and also scaling up our ideas. All of these vary from 6 months to 3-year programs, 2 to 3-year programs in universities across India. So this is one direction, and this is not exhaustive as I mentioned. You can always get in touch with me and others to find out about more opportunities that are possible. Secondly, I would really like to encourage over here in terms of the Ministry of Jal Shakti, that is Government of India, Jal Jeevan Mission. We run this program for water champions for the Ministry of Jal Shakti. As you all know, the from the national, from the Prime Minister as well as from the National Vision for Water, there is a strong push for students to be involved within water. There are jobs available in so many different sectors and industries. I'll talk about it in the next slide. And a program such as this could be a short program for students to join. It's a 1-month program certified by the Ministry of Jal Shakti called the Jal Jeevan Mission Digital Academy. It's an online program of a month of 9 sessions, and it is certified with the Ministry of Jal Shakti. So it actually holds true in terms of future careers and other programs that you want to do. The cost is covered by Government of India and private donors, so you don't need to really pay for it. The link is provided here. We also share this link within the YouTube video later so that you can always click on it and actually join this program, which the next batch of which will be starting by end of November or early December. Coming to opportunities, I feel that water is one of the biggest opportunities for all of you over here. There is an article that we had written, a little bit dated. The link is provided below. We'll also share the link to this article in the YouTube video. There is a whole range of opportunities available. I spoke about courses which can actually get you into multilateral agencies and NGOs in India. It's a growing sector in terms of climate action, in terms of climate change and environmental action. But there's a lot of non-governmental organizations, Indian and multinational, which have an employment opportunities. Philanthropic institutions and philanthropic institutions in the sense that institutions which are actually bringing change at a large scale are also offering jobs for young people in terms of working on water and related areas. A growing sector of innovation, startups, and social enterprises. I spoke about one course dedicated to water at IT Madras, but there are also others coming up. And it's a growing area in terms of IoT, water sensors, water treatment, water reuse, a whole host of areas where startups and social enterprises are coming up. There are new and emerging centers, research centers, academic centers coming up across the country. I know about such centers across different IITs. IIT Kharagpur, I'm sure, IIT Kanpur as a center, IIT Bombay as a center, on water, on environment, IIT Madras as a center. These are also increasingly extending to other engineering colleges. So, in the future, such opportunities would be increasing within the academics and research institutions. And broadly, in the urban space, and as you know, the increasing urbanization in the country and formalization of the urban water supply network and drainage network, there are large size companies which are coming up within India and globally, offering jobs in water treatment and wastewater and agricultural water management. It's a whole industry that is building up. So my strong encouragement to people who are from all backgrounds over here, from engineering or science or social science or management or arts, there is space for all of you. There is a whole range of starting packages in water in terms of salaries. Like encourage you to click on this article and read it, but I'm sure that there is a lot more than what I have mentioned in this article. I think the world is waiting for you in terms of change on water, so make it your career. Yes.
I think Mr. Agarwal had some question for Dr. Sundar. So if he want, I can put him on stage just here. So please, Mr. Agarwal. Uh,
No, thank you, Anirban and Sundar. What a topic to focus on. I'm glad to hear so much focus on waterborne diseases because of our work. Before joining Wheels, actually, I did extensive work in Africa. And this is the issue globally, without any doubt. And the scarcity of water is going to become bigger and bigger issue, both from the quality and availability perspective. So one question, and we can have a conversation more detail later on. One of the challenges is how do you educate very large population? Even in the villages, you are talking about 5, 10,000, tens of thousands of people. And then particularly have them embrace new behaviors, new practices. Curious about how, what has been your experience and how you are going about.
Sure, Ratanji. As I mentioned during the talk, we realize that the belief or the long-term change that happens in terms of behavior such as this, especially on things which you cannot see, cannot taste, cannot smell. Right? I mean, things are invisible. So the change happens from people whom you trust, and in terms of people whom are trusted, within rural communities, there are increasingly several people embedded within every village in India across the country, where there are more and more such trustable community representatives, and it differs across the state, across different cultures in India. But then there are these individuals. So in our explorations and in our understanding, we came across these three individuals very specifically, as I mentioned, right? A teacher, an Anganwadi worker, which is a child care institution, the Anganwadi, and a health worker. But not just limiting to that, very importantly, as I mentioned, even beyond them, a student, a panchayat worker, and so many other people, within the village. We believe that it might not be possible to make all of them as water champions. It's never possible, in that way. But the goal and the target is to be looking at these individuals across the country, and helping them in a very simple and easy way to understand in a very localized manner. So if I am in Bankura in West Bengal, I want to know about my place, right? I want to know about information in my place, in my village, and what can I do, right? How can I sense the problem and how can I solve the problem? So what we say is that if there is a great Anganwadi worker who is really coming forward, we see this potential of leadership in that individual. Then how can she sense the problem? How can she solve the problem? Right. So that's the goal that we try, and we try to make tools available in terms of simple innovation and simple tools, digital tools, other tools that she can hold in her hands to test water, to find out what are the solutions, and to inform others. Now, the larger problem is also about how to reach that Anganwadi worker in Bangkok investment, right? I mean, with any set of people, you will have like 30 people with you or 300 people with you. That is always insufficient for a country such as India, right? And that is why we run this cohort program. We do a once in 3 months cohort, and we do it even monthly when there is request. It's a cohort of individuals who are like you and me. These are individuals who are engineers, who are chemists, who are NGO workers, who are people working in firms, who are people working in the government, academics, students, who come and apply to our courses. They go through a 1 month program. We give them the tools that they can actually have to actually reach out to that Anganwadi worker, to that health worker, to that teacher. And over the time, we have now around close to 3,000 such trainees, such graduates from our water quality management course program, water quality champions program. And these are our set of people whom we constantly engage, who actually then reach out to villages across India. So we try and solve this problem in 2 steps. One step is to create this vast community of trained professionals who are from various sectors, embedded within various institutions and organizations, and through them reach out to community level champions across every village in the country. We say that we want to reach the first million water quality champions. We set the date as 2030, but we want to reach there much earlier than 2030 in terms of first 1 million water quality champions across every village in India.
Now, thank you. Anirban, if I can make just 1-2 comments. So first of all, congratulations. I mean, the program is already showing up in many places. I was meeting with the Punjab Principal Secretary Water, and then they brought up Jaldoot program. And in fact, the two things we are talking to them is leverage of a platform called SIAG, developed by another IIT Madras alumni. It's a wonderful program to engage very wide population, distributed population of young activists. So we'll be happy to talk to you about that. And also, there's another, again, IIT system created mass communications platform called Spoken Tutorials. It is by IIT Bombay. You probably may have heard about it. And that could be another very effective tool to communicate to very wide audiences in a language which they can understand. Intuitively, they can grasp it. And we are using that platform right now to actually engage two of the audiences you are talking about, Anganwadi workers and ASHA workers and health workers. So we are right now working across the entire state of Madhya Pradesh. Each district has more than 5,000 of these to train them on the new behaviors, particularly new proper breastfeeding techniques, as well as end-to-end nutritional management. So there's a whole structured program, I think, which will have great applicability to your objectives. So we'll be happy to talk. So nice to hear that you are really going bottoms up to create these water champions. So wonderful program, and we'll be happy to support.
Wonderful, Ratanji. Surely we can exchange notes, and I will not, go into the specifics of the technologies that we use, but we use reusable, repurposable, open source platforms, and especially mostly these are digital public goods, and we'll be glad to share about it in terms of how we can join hands over here.
I would now request Anirban to take over and handle the question and answer session with its students.
Okay, so probably we have forgot to mention it that if you have any question to the, this is my appeal to the audience. If you have any question, please put in your YouTube comment box so that we can pick it up from there and also we can discuss it. So right now, uh, till they put any question, we can carry on our discussion as well. So that if we have, we can explore right now. If actually I have a question to Dr. Sundar. Dr. Sundar, if some student really wants to be involved in this whole work, or the whole mission that you are running, and if someone wish to join INREM Foundation, so how they can contribute or how they can join with you so that you can expand your team more and they also get some opportunities for their future work.
Sure, Anirban. I mean, there are what we understood is that we need to keep doors open for multiple such opportunities to really engage and be effective volunteer, and also have some opportunities for growth. For students specifically, we have a 2-day program called the Jal Shala, that is a water school. And as I shared here, and also Ratanji shared here about the Jaldu program, at the core of it is this 2-day Jal Shala program, where students are oriented on specifics of water, certified about it, and then they can be part of various programs. For that, you definitely need the school also to be part of it, the educational institutions. We strongly encourage schools to be part of this program. Now it is part of the CBSE curriculum and also several state government curriculums, the Jal Shala program, and we are trying to help different states to actually onboard it, just like we have done it for the state of Assam. So that is one direction that we will strongly encourage the students to go. The second direction is a little bit more engaging. As I was trying to explain to Ratanji, we have engagement platforms. One of the engagement platforms that we run is a bot that we run on WhatsApp. We strongly encourage, given social media concerns and given consent from parents, we really need to be sure about the age and applicability. We encourage students to join in and be part of the digital engagement systems, especially the bot that we have. And there are a lot of opportunities that they will be shown as part of through this program. The third opportunity is what the link that I shared over here. I'm sure you'll be also sharing it with the audience. These are for, I would say,
Yeah.
a little bit of college students, not exactly for school and college and higher, in terms of a certified program. And apart from that, the doors are open. Students can just come in and write to us at hello@inrimfoundation.org. That's our email address, and we'll be glad to accept any request for volunteering opportunities and growth opportunities with the organization.
Sundar, do you
So
offer students the online internships also, virtual internships?
That is increasing now. It was, we didn't even realize that, and it's now we see that there is a growing set of student interest in terms of wanting to contribute from where they are, and a lot of different also remote possibilities, even engaging on digital, contributing small open source modules, but not just digital, even be part of sessions, part of online engagements, and contributing from remotely. Definitely. I mean, as of now, these are the platforms, these are the channels that we have. If none of these things, are comfortable, they can write to our email address, hello@inrim, and we'll respond.
So, Dr.
yeah.
Krishnan, can you share your email address and phone number, some contact email ID and phone number with the audience here?
Definitely. Definitely.
I
So
think
hello@inrim
I think
is the one. We'll share
uh,
it.
Dr. Krishnan, it will be the better if you can share all these details with us so that we can
Definitely. Definitely. We'll share it.
I mean, the internship is actually very good opportunity. In fact, on our website, Wheels Global Foundation website, we have a blog section where we encourage the youth to share their point of view. The next generation you are trying to engage, the middle school kids, the high school kids, the college students, and giving them chance to do 1 month, 6 weeks, 8 weeks internships during the summer period or even off summer period. I think will be another great way for them to be engaged. And I would certainly encourage. There's a blog written by one seventh grade student on our website, particularly on the water perspectives. So it's
Okay.
very, very good to see how uh, deeply they are interested in the topic.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'll be glad to have a look at it. So I'll
Sure,
just try
I'll
to
share
go
with you
through
the
it.
link.
Yeah. And
Okay.
largely, I think there's a lot happening now in terms of many different universities, institutions, NGOs actually thinking on these lines. So it's, I think, a lot of different reasons why all of these different thinkings need to come together, because it's all the same direction. It's all for the next generation to be really engaged, and we see that increasing demand from the generation also. When given the opportunity, the enthusiasm, especially with Jaldus, we see that the way they participate, the way they come up with new ideas, innovations, they are innovators in their own ways. I think they just need that small excuse, a small internship, just a very brief opportunity. We'll be glad to play our own role along with all of you here.
And the last thing I
So,
will mention is also the reality is many of us are doing our part in this domain, like water domain, like health domain. They are intertwined. At the same time, given the magnitude of the problem, we have 1.4 billion population, nearly 700-800 million are in the rural and underserved areas. To the sheer magnitude, both population-wise, by geography, by the diversity of the problems, no single entity can move the needle. And this is where it's very important for us to continue to build bridges and cross connections with many entities, because the nature, I mean, the problem is even in the water we have nearly 3 dozen problems, and more this type of sessions can open the door to connect with other entities with a shared mission. More we can have a chance to spread the good work and these proven models and proven approaches. So glad to see today. It will be our pleasure to support your mission and help it be taken forward.
and it will, I think it will be best if you could share all the details so that I can put it in the description also. So in future, anyone who visit the video, they can get into touch with him, because as I assume, because everywhere in REM will not present, is not present right now, will not be present. So if someone is very much curious in this field, if someone finds something, or if someone get in the trouble regarding the water quality issues or something, so he or she might be needing to discuss something, or might he may someone want to connect you so that their problem can be addressed. For that purpose, I'll suggest you put all the description to me, give it to me, and I'll share in the description of the video.
We'll do that.
Maybe
Definitely.
one more question, Sundar, if you have time, I would ask you for audience
Please.
benefit. You mentioned fluoride and arsenic being the one of the major problems. I think is in many parts of India, and particularly, I see the same challenge even in my home state of Rajasthan. The
Right.
fluoride creating such pervasive joint pains, osteoporosis linkage. Curious if a couple of solutions which you want to point out for the audience for both of these, which are easy to embrace by wide spectrum of communities, and potentially also easy on the economics. So I think that will be beneficial.
Sure. I mean, that is the core message that we talk about in terms of simple solutions that can help people. Apart from the commercially available solutions which exist around these problems, especially fluoride. So there are two things that I really want people to really come to. One is that we have realized that it's a combination of safe water and nutrition that helps people a lot from problems such as fluoride contamination. And really, this message has spread a lot, especially in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh in the last 10 to 12 years. We are really happy that this has happened. Now, specifically to safe water and specifically to nutrition, what can people really do about it? So, in particularly in safe water, apart from so many commercially available membranes and all of these technologies and everything in the world, We strongly recommend rainwater as the particular starting point, especially in a state like Rajasthan. And that has traditionally been there. Traditionally, people have done it. And now it is coming back. We see that people are actually wanting to come back. It's coming back in vogue. But we understand that this is something that not everybody will adopt. Right? Not everybody can really afford even rainwater harvesting. The old traditional practice of alum in removal of fluoride contamination, we are really surprised. I mean, we felt that people have actually left it, but when there is a real problem around contamination of fluoride, we still see that the practice of alum in water settling down, waiting for some time, it really removes more than 70 to 80% of fluoride contamination. It doesn't work as well and as efficient as all the great membranes of the world and all the new technologies. But I just tell people that if you want to save yourself, from these severe problems, you have to look at the simplest solution. That is number one, rainwater alum. The second one on nutrition, research has found, and there is a lot of increasing evidence that there is three contaminants, three nutrients, which actually address the contamination of fluoride. These three nutrients are calcium, magnesium, and vitamin C. Vitamin C of certain types. So if you go around, in different right now, when we enter into the winter, and there is a practice of having til or sesame, til chicky or sesame. That's a great source of both calcium and magnesium. So we, along with Anganwadi centers and along with nutrition centers, we promote til chicky during the winter season in these areas. Vitamin C, we all know that we are blessed with Indian gooseberry and amla, but there is a whole lot of other things also which produce vitamin C. And there is a whole lot of different local ways to enhance calcium. I will not go into all of these because some of these are also about the nutrition deficit in India, the nutrition poverty. Right? It's easy to say, but it's difficult to practice. But there are local practices, local contents of calcium, local leafy vegetables that one can really enhance. So what we do is look at in fluoride contamination areas, these simple solutions of rainwater or locally available material or nutritional practices. Apart from the broader solutions, for example, we do encourage membrane-based solutions. We do encourage the market-based solutions. We do encourage the government-based programs to be more effective because at the larger sense, those solutions really have to deliver. But if nothing really works, then you need something to protect your family, to protect your child, and these are very simple things that people can adopt in their lives.
Wow, what a wonderful, simple advice, doable by every villager. So certainly, I'm not going to leave you without a powerful blog on the Wheels website. One other thing to point out, there's another simple innovation which we have picked up from another IIT Bombay / IISC alumni, Dr. Anjan Mukherjee. So he has developed a very simple device called Maji reactor. His NGO name is Taraltech. This Maji reactor is a device which fits on the top of the hand pump, and it provides then lifetime bacteria-free safe water. So it eliminates all the organic bacteria contaminants from the water coming out of the hand pump. Costs only about 7,000 rupees. Already sanctioned by central government in terms of the funding. The Gram Panchayats can tap into that funding to even take care of the cost of 7,000 rupees. It takes about 30 minutes to install. And the entire village with that hand pump can get now lifetime free contaminant in terms of the bacterial contaminations. So another very simple innovation for our rural communities to use. But again, awareness building of all these solutions, what you talked about, this Samaji reactor is very, very key. So we need to leverage all of our interconnected NGOs working in water, working in health domain to elevate the awareness. So again, kudos to your very simple advice, rainwater harvesting or use of alum. In our Upanishad, this is called Katak. It used to be referred as. So some of that knowledge which was already there, we have lost. And I think we can bring it back to make it simple.
Definitely.
So, Suyata ji, can we move on to the next part of program, because I think the discussion is so exclusive and it is mostly understand, all the viewers have
Questions
understood the entire thing.
and questions
So
are
that,
answered.
yeah, all the questions are answered right now. So we can move into the next session. So please.
Sure. Yeah, so I think we will move on to the next part. But before moving over, I would like to thank Dr. Sundar, because it has been a very exhaustive session where you started right from the beginning, identifying the problem, then how it can be treated for individuals, and what is the big picture and how we can solve it at the bigger level. And then most importantly, the opportunities, educational opportunities as well as job opportunities that students might have, the target audience for this, that they have in this space. You have identified all that. And so thank you very much. It was a big learning even for me. um, uh, and now what we will do is, since this is a program between NDLI and Wheels Global Foundation, I would request Ratan Agarwal, our president, to say a few words about Wheels Global Foundation, what we do, and then we hand it over to Anirban for the last bit of the program. So over to you, Ratan, please.
Thank you, Sujata. And really, it was a privilege to hear from Sundar today about his lifetime mission of bringing the same safe water to our more than 600,000 villages. So, in the same line, Wheels Global Foundation is essentially a social impact platform created by our worldwide IIT alumni community. As we all know, country had made investment into these premier institutions, and that investment has paid off. We have now today nearly 500,000 alumni from these IITs all over the world. The two big clusters are, of course, in India and USA. Given that all these alumni have benefited from this extraordinary investment, public investment by the government, by the country, we believe there's a higher obligation to give back. And that is the ethos which led to creation of Wheels Global Foundation as a combined giving back platform. And the platform, even though it has been created by IIT alumni, it is open to all. We have many doctors, we have many lawyers, we have many retired IAS, IFS officers. And the focus is for the foundation to leverage our collective resources of the IIT ecosystem. That means half million alumni with their deep business experience, technology experience, as well as the innovations coming out of our IIT system and other institutions to help scale promising social impact initiatives and models across the 6 domains Wheels had chosen, which essentially uh, each letter of word Wheels is one area of focus. So it's a nice acronym for the 6 areas which are highly interconnected: water, health, education, energy, livelihood, and sustainability. Given our model that we are working with existing institutions, we have now built a relationship with nearly 120 social impact entities and identified about 50 initiatives which are highly replicable, which are highly sustainable. And our goal is to continuing to identify these good models, good initiatives, and introduce them to rest of the country. Because as I mentioned earlier, the sheer magnitude is so large, we need to leverage, we need to drive much higher ROI and multiplier effect of existing solutions. And that is the best way for we can move that needle faster, and we can achieve our developed economy goal much faster. So my message is that the platform is really open to everybody. The number one thing it is doing is to make it easy for everybody who has interest in giving back to be able to give back. Everybody will find multiple options for their interest and their contributions to make a difference and join our journey of impacting at least 20% of India's rural and underserved population by 2030. So thank you again, Sujata and Dr. Sundar and Anirban for giving me the opportunity to talk about Wheels, and look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Okay,
Over to you.
so Yeah. Mm. So this is the time to extend my thanks to all the people who have made this successful. So, first of all, I want to convey my heartfelt thank to Dr. Sundar for giving time and giving us such extensive lecture, and encourage our students and to education community to be involved in some social service, and that they can opt for their future profession also, opt as a future profession also. So thank you very much for being with us. I would like to convey my thanks to Mr. Ratan Agarwal, Ms. Riyata Roy, for being with us, and Wills Global Foundation India, uh, which is a partner of National Digital Library of India in terms of this. Actually, with this partnership, we present this global event mostly in every month, once at least. So, my thanks to Wills Global Foundation India. I would like to convey my thanks to all the audience, all the viewers who are continuously supporting NDLI, all the users of NDLI, as well as all the administrators, the Ministry of Education for sponsoring this project, and the National Digital Library of India. I would like to convey my thanks to the institution IIT Kharagpur for hosting this project. And again, with my all these thanks to everybody, I would like to conclude the session, and with your permission, I'll be signing off today. Bye bye.
Sure.
Namaste.
Thank you so much.